Is Disney a bully? So, this is the main question that's coming out in the media now with the Los Angeles Times, and they wrote a piece in the past about Disney in Anaheim, California, and the Disney park that's set up there. And so currently the news is that Disney will no longer give advanced screenings to the LA Times because of what they consider biased reporting or not, you know, full journalistic reporting, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying that. Um, so let me welcome you guys to another episode of the Mad Hatter Radio. As always, reporting live from the Upside Down world. Appreciate you guys tuning in. So let's go ahead and get into kind of what some of this is about and kind of where I want to go, some things I want to extrapolate from these findings. So let's just talk a little bit about, actually, before I even go into that, I do want to talk about like, man, like you're seeing so much news right now from Hollywood to sports to Disney, like these movies and the company that owns all these theme parks. You're really seeing the veil of the entertainment industry fall. I mean, you're really seeing that all this shit is like not just the entertainment industry. Obviously, it's a microcosm, but you're seeing industries, these major industries, these corporations, these ways of thinking, these governments, these cultures. You're seeing all of that crumble, not necessarily crumble, but you're seeing it for what it is now more than ever. And that's always the main point I always want to come back to, and I always do come back to, is in this world that we have created. These are the times when we're starting to see through a lot of the bullshit. So let's get into some specifics. Disney is basically getting $1 billion back in overall kickbacks from, tax incentives and all the other ways, financial ways and schemes that they have of making money by paying off. So this, I don't have the specifics with me right now, but basically Disney and Anaheim paid not a lot of money to buy off the city council. So I think they paid somewhere around like $1.2 million for the whole council, but they're getting something like $1 billion in overall savings and kickbacks. They're not really paying for anything. The city is paying for it. The taxpayer, the average taxpayer. And Anaheim has like a 17% homeless population. Like, there's a lot of issues. Like, right now, California's homeless population is really bad because all these, like, the economy is doing really well, and so all these really high earners are moving in, but they're pushing out everybody else, and the city's not doing anything to make sure that people who don't make as much money have some sort of way of surviving, of having affordable living, you know. So this is happening all over the West Coast. So you have this in Anaheim where these people are struggling, but yet they have to pay $108 million for one of the Disney garages, right? For this theme park, $108 million, and Disney only has to pay $1 for the lease. So they charge somewhere between like $20 to $35 for parking in this garage, and the city really doesn't see any of it. And this reminds me a lot of the NFL stadiums. Like you had the San Diego Chargers who moved to LA, and they were threatening, and this is what Disney does too. What they do is they threaten, if they don't get everything that they want, they threaten to pull their company out altogether, and they're like, oh hey, survive without us. See if you can get all the tourism without us. And it's kind of like it's bullshit. Like they're using this to bully the city, but the city is now waking up and they're like, fuck this, which is good. And I think people around the world are waking up to this scheme that we've been living under, this bullshit from the corporations and from the government. So yeah, so if they don't get their demands, if Disney and people like that don't get their demands, they threaten to not invest. Um, another reason, a reason why you're seeing the Anaheim City Council and the people fighting back is because they have a budget shortfall, and they're looking at like they're like, all right, man, we're giving you all these advantages, but we're not seeing this back, and the people who are predominantly like working class, middle to lower class people, and they're wondering like, hey, if we're investing all this money as taxpayers into this company, why are we not seeing it on our side? You know, why are we seeing an increase in homeless population, less affordable housing? You know, our the amount of money that we're making, our income is not increasing. It's getting more expensive to live in California. Why are we not seeing this? You know, people are really starting to question it. You know, and you gotta admire that. It might be a little bit too late, but at least people are doing that. And then of course, Disney has the rebuttal of saying, "Well, we create jobs," and then they also say that well, we're investing $2 billion over the next 10 years without any specifics. Obviously, they give no specifics, but they're saying this is how much the money that they're investing. Um, but you always have to wonder. A lot of times, like they invest in a way they have such schemes where they invest it in a way where that money really comes back to them. So Disney hasn't really helped out Anaheim that much based on the current situation of where Anaheim is and what the people are feeling, and the new city council members and the new mayor is feeling. People aren't feeling that, so people are starting to question, hey, should we keep giving this money out to these guys? Um, so I want to wrap this up by saying, look, man, it's like I saw this meme earlier, and it's so true. The corporations control the government controls us. Overall, like the corporations pay for influence. They pay for the ability to control us. It's like what Hillary Clinton did with her, Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Victory Fund, like all that embezzling that they did. It was legal embezzling, but basically Hillary Clinton used her power because the DNC was in so much debt. She used that to have control over the DNC and thus eventually having control over our democracy or the republic, whatever you want to call it. And this also just goes to my belief that we need to pull away from this whole entertainment industry and putting it on a pedestal and putting so much of our energy into it, man. Like, I mean, you can see just how sick and twisted these industries are, man. Like, and they have such an influence over us. We got to do better turning off social media, turning off the television, really getting back to reading books, talking with each other. There was a certain art, I think, to like reading books and reading like using analog material, like reading newspapers and not always being constantly bombarded and distracted by all of this stuff on the internet constantly. It's doing something to us, and we got to pull away from it. But you can really see how the stranglehold is even tighter. Like just as it's a double-edged sword. As we're waking up, we're also becoming more entranced. Like these phones and constant access to information is waking us up, but it's distracting us and it's pulling us in even more with a tight grip. And that's just how life kind of works. It's like as soon as you start to break free, that's when the pressure on the other side gets tighter because they don't want to lose you. Like once I'm sure once slaves started getting more rights and they started pulling away from that system, I bet you the system and the people who had control of that were trying harder and harder to keep that grip tighter, right? So I say that to say this, as always, stay woke, be aware of what's going on, protect yourself, protect your energy, protect your health, your family, the people around you, and I'm going to leave that there.